CM Punk just addressed a very intriguing idea, so we'll see what that's about. We'll also check out what's new for Naomi, Liv Morgan, and more. Starting things off with the mysterious leaked footage involving Liv Morgan. It's unclear where this leaked footage came from, but a 20-second clip recently surfaced online of Liv Morgan getting ready for her involvement in the July 22nd edition of Raw. This was, of course, the segment that featured Dominic Mysterio fully breaking and shattering Liv Morgan's heart as she stood and spoke from a section in the crowd. Well, this leaked behind-the-scenes footage shows Liv Morgan standing behind the curtains of that arena section that she walked out of, and there's at least 9 people there with her. A cameraman, several producers, and other individuals can all be seen standing there with Liv before she walked out of that curtain to speak with Dominic and Rhea. Some of those backstage individuals standing there with Liv had large stacks of papers in their hand, which was possibly the scripts for Monday Night Raw itself. So for anyone that really appreciates behind-the-scenes magic of how Raw and just television programs in general come to life, it was a very interesting clip to watch. There were so many backstage individuals there with Liv Morgan for that one segment alone. And like we mentioned before, no one knows where this footage itself came from. It does look like WWE had the section secured, so it's possible that this footage just came from a fan that had a good angle at what was happening behind that curtain. But it was just a very interesting, rare look to see how segments are actually brought to life and prepared for. As far as things go with Liv Morgan, she's currently in the middle of arguably the best run and program of her entire WWE career. And that's saying a lot, because Liv has been involved in programs with Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, and so many more throughout the years. So to say that this is the best run-in program over all those previous ones is saying a lot. Liv Morgan has surpassed 60 days as Women's World Champion, and the general vibe from the fans is that Liv's reign will most likely survive SummerSlam due to a potential twist involving Dominic Mysterio. So Liv could look for her second world title reign to outlast her first reign that originally went for 98 days. A very bright future appears to be headed for Liv Morgan with this new heel character and potentially a pair-up with Dominic Mysterio happening any week now. CM Punk recently spoke with Ringside Collectibles, and he had an interesting response to a big question. CM Punk has rich history with factions in pro wrestling. He was a part of the Second City Saints, the New Nexus, the Straight Edge Society, and he's also credited for being the one to come up with the overall concept for the Shield, so he's no stranger at all to faction success. During this interview, Punk was asked if he would ever lead another faction in WWE, and he had this to say about that topic, quote, "I'm not going to say no because you never say never. I don't see it happening in the foreseeable future, but you never know what's going to happen. That's the cool thing about where we're at as a company right now. Creatively speaking, this is the most fruitful, creative locker room that I think I've ever been in. Ideas aren't being ignored and shot down, and people are eager to share ideas. So somebody someday could have a brilliant idea that's something that I have blinders on and can't see, and I would be receptive to any of the ideas as long as they're good." End quote. CM Punk went on to say that the locker room environment and entire regime is so amazing that if this current regime was in place back in 2014, he believes he never would have walked out of WWE. Punk was also once again asked about AJ Lee during this interview, and he had this to say about that topic, quote, "I'm the wrong guy to ask those questions. I know there's a lot out there of that, but I certainly am not pushing her to do anything. I think she knows that there's options. I think she sees how happy I am and how things are different, but if the right situation presented itself, it would have to be a discussion between her and certain people. I don't necessarily want to be in the middle of that just because it could get kind of weird. Selfishly, yes, I would love to make out with my wife on television again." End quote. So Punk says he doesn't want to force AJ to do it or be the middleman of the situation, but that if she does decide to return one day, he'd love to be beside her and recreate that 2012 kissing moment. The idea of AJ and CM Punk being together again on WWE television is very exciting because of all the story and matchup potential. Even something as simple as Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch versus CM Punk and AJ Lee would be very exciting to see. The battle of two top power couples in the pro wrestling industry and having a whole story centered around them could be very entertaining. And like we spoke about earlier in the week, it was also a big recent headline that WWE wants to keep CM Punk signed and locked down for the long haul. So if they do agree to terms on an even longer contract, maybe it'll be possible to see CM Punk accomplish all these different things, such as leading another faction, and maybe having a WWE television reunion with AJ Lee as well. Naomi shocked the world earlier this year when she returned at the Royal Rumble. Naomi and WWE's relationship with each other came to an abrupt and nasty stop back in mid-2022 after Naomi and Mercedes walked out of the company while being tag team champions. After such an intense walkout like that, fans fully expected to never see either of those women step foot inside a WWE ring again. But over a year and a half later, after their walkout took place, the entire landscape of the WWE had drastically changed forever. Vince McMahon and his staff was gone, WWE was sold, TKO was formed, Triple H gained full uncontested creative control, and everything had completely changed from how it was in mid-2022. So given the drastic changes, everyone assumed that this left the door open just a bit for Naomi and Mercedes' return to the company. It was reported that WWE did make Mercedes an offer for her to return to the company to reprise her role as Sasha Banks, but the offer and creative control she was getting from AEW was just superior in every way, so she signed with them. But Naomi, on the other hand, did sign with WWE and made that early 2024 return to the company after that brutal exit in 2022. Naomi recently spoke with WWE Deutschland, and she fully opened up about what was going through her head during her WWE return. She had this to say, quote, "That too felt like a relief, you know what I mean? Just all the negativity surrounding the walkout and everything that Mercedes and I have experienced. It just felt like a big weight off my shoulders to be back home, to be accepted back home, and just have the opportunity to continue where I started and finish the story, my journey. Just to have the opportunity in my career where I started and finished things the right way, and to reconnect with my WWE fans, just to push through that entire time in my career. It felt really, really good and special to be back. People made me feel that, even backstage, you know, I was a little nervous, but it was like I had never been away," end quote. So it was a really nerve-wracking return for Naomi. She didn't know how the backstage staff, locker room, and the fans would react to her return following the events of the walkout. But all of Naomi's nerves and concerns were squashed instantly during her first night back in WWE. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.